Have you ever felt buried in busy work, second guessing what to hand off, or wondering why growth still feels so darn heavy? Then this podcast is for you. Welcome to Delegate to Elevate. Get done, where real conversations help you lead smarter, delegate better, and take more off your plate. Here's your host, me, Bonnie Schutz. All right. As Matthew McConaughey would say, hello, this is Delegate to Elevate. Get done, where we keep it candid about leadership, growth, and getting the right off your plate before your business starts running you. I'm Bonnie Schutz, your host. Today, we welcome Tonya Kubo. She is a community strategist, marketing consultant, and rebel with a cause, helping people find the place where they truly belong. For nearly 2 decades, she built online spaces that feel less like comment sections and more like chosen family. She's the fixer you can call when your Facebook group has gone straight up Lord of the Flies and the bouncer at the door of internet nonsense. She's also the host of Find Your Freaks, and I found my freak in her. Tonya brings together unconventional thinkers and bridge builders who know normal was never the point. She also co-hosts Business You Really Want with Gwen Bortner, former guest on our show, and Clutter Free Academy with Kathy Lip. Welcome, Tonya.
So good to be here, Bonnie.
Yes, I'm so excited to have my California girl on the show. I'm waiting for California weather here in Colorado today.
Oh yeah, it is 80 degrees and sunny here.
Oh, lovely. Oh, this girl is a palm tree freak. She needs her palms. Bring me the palms. So it is so great to finally formally meet you because we've only met through emails and online. So thank you for agreeing to be a guest on the show today.
And thank you for having me. This is going to be a blast.
Yes. And so tell me a little bit more about where you have come from and where you're at and the business that you work in.
Oh, okay. I would love to do that. So I'm a former journalist, so that's what I did right out of high school, or right out of college, I should say. I spent 8 years on a news desk and managed a newsroom, and then decided that I wanted to have some kids. Wanted to maybe my plan was actually to adopt and be a single mom. So I did that really millennial, like older millennial / Gen X thing, and I Googled like cheapest places to be a single mom near where I live. And so I landed in a town called Merced, and they had a brand new university. So it's if you're familiar with the University of California system, Berkeley is the oldest campus, Merced is the youngest campus.
Okay.
And so I landed there as a public information officer and just happened to meet my husband 6 months later. And I have been here ever since. So
and had your little brood with a partner.
Yeah. I had 2 girls, 4.5 years apart. And then in 2019, I decided to take the work that I had been doing at the university, because of course I went from public information to working on online engagement and really taking that very close-knit feel our young campus had in person and extending that to the online spaces so that we could just really help people to appreciate how the culture was different. And I decided to just hang up a shingle in 2019 and start doing that for business owners around the world.
Nice. Very cool. So community strategist, love that, because I myself belong to several communities. So who is like an ideal client for you that would come to you for this type of support?
So it's funny is usually people would start with industry, but I always say you have to like your people. So I made the mistake early on of going, I can build great communities for anybody, and discovering that oftentimes the people who are most attracted to outsourcing their community building were people who wanted nothing to do with their audience. Right? And we don't get those people. You can tell they resent their people. So the first thing is you have to really like your people. But second to that is have a clear purpose in mind. Like, I believe that for a community to be sustainable for any of us, we have to clearly know at any given point, what is the community doing for us and what are we doing for them? Right? Like, why is it worth them showing up at any point in time? And why is it worth us showing up? And it doesn't mean it has to give you money. Sometimes, like I'm part of a community, it's a public service to me.
Yeah.
The people behind it have a vested interest in the area where we live, and they want to highlight the best parts of it, right?
Okay.
And so That's the only reason they exist. Nobody is paid. Nobody's a professional. They don't technically know what they're doing in terms of being strategic. They just do what feels right to them.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
love that.
lovely place. It's vibrant. Then on the other end, you wouldn't hire me to help you with that kind of community because that doesn't make sense. On the other end, there are people who have a community. Maybe they want to offer a different level of service, but there's only 24 hours in a day. And so there needs to be a business objective that's connected to the community. So what I do is come in and build that structure of the community so that we can draw straight lines to your business objectives.
So I imagine both when they're starting a new community platform or get together or something, but do you also do that for people that maybe are kind of like trying to build up a community that just hasn't taken?
Yep. So I typically get hired to launch communities, either paid or free, because some people will have a free group and then they want to make a paid membership out of it, or to relaunch is what I call it. But they had a group, maybe it started strong and then has fizzled to some degree. Or what happens in a lot of cases is somebody took up a class somewhere that told them that they could build a really big group through ads. And what they didn't realize is when you build a big group through ads, oftentimes there's really no connecting thread. And so you have to, there's nothing wrong with using ads to build a group, but if your ads aren't super targeted, you need to have a really strong onboarding process that quickly sifts through your members and gets them either tightly connected or gets them to leave. Because there's no use in having 1,000 members or 10,000 members in a group if only 5 people are
participate. Yeah. Seen that happen. Felt that in my own world now and then on my team. But I just like to think they're just too busy to communicate with me.
And that happens too, right? And it's also understanding, like in this day and age, people talk about like our membership debt. You'll see this all the time. Our membership debt, our Facebook is dead.
Yeah.
It's not so much that any platform is dead. It's that you have to earn people's attention. Okay, it's not 2020 anymore where we don't have anything to do and we can't leave our house.
And everybody's looking for somebody.
Exactly. We've got all these competing priorities. I'm only willing to answer, do I like cilantro or not, so many times.
No kidding.
I get it. It's engagement based, right? And people have strong opinions about cilantro, but it's like, okay, but what's the substance here? Is this worth showing up for? And so part of what I think we all need to do is build those really authentic relationships by giving people something to show up for. Just like if we were to meet for coffee, you wouldn't just show up to the coffee date and be like, I don't know, Tonya, what do you got for me? I don't really feel like talking today. If you want to say anything, you can. No. Right? You would be like, oh, Tonya and I are going to have coffee. Maybe I'll ask about other kids. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do that. I'll tell her about this new thing that happened in my life.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the online space, we're like, well, we created the group. It's up to everybody else to tell us what to do.
Yeah. So tell me what the difference is between like a community and like networking. Is it the same thing?
It can be. So what I say is communities have 3 pillars. You can think of it as 3 layers to it. But one is there has to be a leader. Somebody has to be in charge.
Sure.
And the members of the community, it's only a community, and this is where it sets community apart from your email list or from people who visit your website or even your podcast list.
Right.
People have to be able to go somewhere to connect with you over whatever the shared purpose is. Like in your case, Bonnie, I might be like, I suck at delegating. Oh my gosh, I'm a terrible delegator.
We'll get into that.
I've had 14 really bad assistants help me, right? Like that could be the reason that I'm connected to you.
Right.
Great. I need to be able to have a direct connection with you. And I need to be able to have a direct connection with other people about what you talk about.
Yeah.
Because that's where that sticky piece comes in, right? Because I can think you're amazing all day long, but I'm going to hear everything you say through my specific filter, through the lens of my life experience.
Yeah.
When someone else, I can watch them interact with you. Well, now my understanding of what you're sharing just got richer through their perspective, and now I can build a relationship with them independent of you. But I give you full credit because you're the person who created the container in which I got to meet.
I love
And so
that.
you need
That's
those
a
three
nice
things
little
in
golden
place.
nugget there. I like that. You're the person that created the container. Love that.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
like
And
it.
I love you now forever because I hold you responsible for making my super friend.
Aw, love that. So you also do a little marketing consulting. Tell us about that business or that leg of
Yeah.
your business.
Well, and that, came out of the journalism and the public information officer. I
Right.
was working with the school's marketing department. And what would end up happening is, as much as I love community is a fraction of a business. So somebody would
Right.
say, hey, Tonya, can you help me with my Facebook group? Sure, I'd love to help you. And then I would find out that the problem with their Facebook group was actually a more systemic problem with their business. It
Mm,
wasn't that they didn't have engaged members, but they weren't marketing the group to the right target client, for instance. It was just,
right.
hey, I have a Facebook group, you should join it. And so then I realized, like, okay, so marketing, there is a lead generation aspect to it. There's
Mhm.
also learning how to effectively communicate about your offers, and then also ushering people along the customer journey. And so much of that is very similar with community building.
Right.
So it just ended up, as I was running communities, I started helping people with their marketing. And then in
Okay.
some cases, I've been a brand lead for people where it's everything from their paid and free communities to their website and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But the community piece is what I love, those relationships.
I love that. That's perfect. Yeah, I mean, there's many communities that I belong to that probably don't know there's people like you out there that can help them professionally build that community. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's such a valuable service. So thank you.
Well,
and
thank you.
and I'll definitely throw your name out there to some people I know.
I appreciate
For
it.
sure. So, in thinking about delegation and in your own experience, since you've branched out onto your own and started doing this community strategy and the adjoining marketing piece and all that, what are the things that you've delegated in your business or outsourced to others?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in both outsourcing and insourcing. And I
Ooh.
developed this. So I went to grad school. I got my master's degree while I was working full time and
Mhm.
starting the business.
Wow.
So the first thing I did was like have a conversation with my husband, right? Like, okay, these are all the things that need to be done.
Hmm.
Which of these things can you do versus
Ooh.
right?
Yeah.
Because I think so much around the house ends up defaulting to whoever is the woman in the relationship
Yep.
or female presenting
Yep.
oftentimes happen. And we're always thinking about like, oh, I need an assistant, but maybe I don't need an assistant if I can get the laundry and the cooking and the cleaning off of my plate.
Right.
So like when I was in grad school, the big joke is we had a lot of help with the girls. I had somebody who would take them to school every day, pick them up, take them
Hmm.
to their activities so that I
Hmm.
wasn't spending all the time in the car. And my
Yeah.
joke was that she had way more disposable income than we did at that stage. But it was
Probably.
worth it,
Yeah.
right? And
Oh,
it was
so
worth it
worth it.
for both my peace of mind, right? I
Yep.
knew the things were handled and I didn't have to have the mental load of worrying about this today gymnastics, is it karate? Do we have
Yeah.
Girl Scouts today? Not Girl Scouts today? Oh my
Right.
gosh, it's a minimum day. Somebody
Yeah.
else was managing that calendar. And
Perfect.
one of my beliefs is, we have a work schedule, we have some days off. Don't all of us want to enjoy our day off?
Amen.
I
Yes.
don't want to spend the time cooking and cleaning. I don't think
Mm-mm.
my husband should have to spend it cooking and cleaning. So
Yeah.
there have been times where we've gotten help with the cooking and we've gotten help with the cleaning.
Perfect.
Now we're
Yeah.
in a stage where the girls are older. I do a lot
Mhm.
of delegating to them.
Ooh, yes.
Now, I am somebody, this is what I always say, I don't necessarily care how it's done if I don't have to do it,
Right. Right.
right? So they
Here's the
can load the
end goal
dishwasher
as long as I
however
see
they want.
that. Yeah.
Okay, they can put the dishes away however they want. As long as they're in the right cabinet, I don't care if it's on the top shelf or bottom shelf, whatever works for
Yeah.
them.
Close enough for
So
government work is the saying.
exactly. I mean, it's just like with having a VA. You could spend all of your time going, okay, you have to follow this checklist A to Z perfectly,
Right.
or let them do it their way, and chances are you're going to get much more of an impact because they'll be able to
Yes.
do.
Yeah. We talk a lot about perfectionism and how
Mm-hmm.
that's what sometimes stumps some people that want to bring support on is their own perfectionism and control.
Yep.
So that's a really good point. Thanks for sharing that.
You're
So true.
welcome. It is.
Yeah.
It is the perfectionism. And then I think the other thing is the indecisiveness. this has been my albatross in my own business, is I can't delegate something if I haven't decided how I want it done, or what exactly I want done, or what the priorities are.
Yeah,
I
what
can't
done looks like.
Yeah, I can't expect somebody else to read my mind and know what done looks like, what success looks like. And I burned through probably half a dozen VAs just learning that lesson.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we have to do that though, don't we? We gotta live through a few relationships, like my first husband.
Your podcast didn't exist back then, so how would I else?
No, they did not. I couldn't talk publicly about my first husband like that. No. That's so true. Yeah, no, and lessons learned are always good points and golden nuggets we can share with the audience here, because if we've done this for a while, we've learned some lessons for sure. I love the creative delegation and delegating to your family that I've talked about on here before too. My husband is my CFO and CTO. He has a full-time job. My daughters, I've tried to bring them both in, but not so successful. But when they were still at home, they would do that kind of thing. Or when they need extra money, I'll shoot them a little project. So that's that creative delegation and money saving economical way to delegate things too. So through your learning with having several VAs, what was the biggest lesson then, other than just communication and clarity, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson is there is a very big difference between delegating and dumping. Because delegation, and from my perspective, first of all, it requires planning and preparation. Right? I have to think through what I want you to do much more than I have to think through if I'm just going to go do it myself.
Right.
And what would happen to me is I would wait too long to delegate, right? So I'd wait till my hair is on fire and overwhelmed, and then I just want to toss it to you and say, just get it done.
That's not good.
And you can tell by my mannerisms and the tone of my voice that I don't actually have time or patience or interest in answering your question. So then you go off kind of on half cock on the somewhat impression of what I may want, and then you bring it back to me and it's wrong. And then I'm like, well, it's fine. Well, I'll do it myself. How often have some of us said, oh, it's just easier to do it.
I'll just do it myself. Yeah. And
I remember having one assistant who would say, Tonya, I will do whatever you want me to do. Just give me a checklist. And I was like, if I wanted to write out a checklist, I wouldn't have any.
I would just be doing the things on the list.
Exactly. And she was great because she was like, maybe I'm not the assistant for you. Because I can't get in your brain and I don't know what question, or we haven't worked together enough for me to know what questions to ask to get it out of your brain.
Don't we love intuitive people like that? They just know that from the get. I'm not for you. Like, good that you were found somebody that could actually say that, because quite often, even going in as support and saying I'm a marketing agency and I'm going to support somebody, and you feel that vibe initially, and you got to be able to, as my favorite little Elsa says, let it go. Let it go to the person that suits you. And a big conversation we've been having lately with guests on the show about, do you hire for skill set or do you hire for personality matches? Obviously, it's a little bit of both, but which one do you lean into more?
I lean into personality. And this was just because I was 24 in my first leadership role. And I learned really quickly that it was much easier to teach skill than it was to teach culture fit.
Yeah.
And I think if you have culture fit, it's a lot faster to get them on board with making independent decisions.
Yeah. 100%. As a corporate dropout, executive assistant of almost 30 years, I worked best for bosses that let me in and that I was able to relate with on a personal level, and have that emotional intelligence after building that relationship first. I think then I became a better assistant in the end. So that is so true. So true.
Well, and also with EA, because I worked in higher ed, I very quickly saw that there were kind of two camps. There were people who understood that the EA ran the show, right? You better make friends with the EA if you want to get on that leader's calendar anytime in the next, say, 6 months.
Yeah.
Other people viewed the EA as beneath them, as almost like serfs, And they
Yeah.
would treat them poorly, talk to them as if they had no formal education. Meanwhile, it's like, okay, what you don't know is that person has a master's degree, and the only reason they're in this EA role is because we don't have their specialty at this university.
Yeah.
And their spouse got hired here as faculty, and we wanted to put them somewhere because they're really, really smart and amazing.
Mm. Yeah.
But, if you can be in a situation where you have mutual respect, right? Like I always say, like nobody's just a VA, just like nobody's just a mom.
Yeah. Just a secretary is what I used to feel like saying all the time.
Yeah, and I had a friend who was trying to be a VA, and she was like, I just feel like a secretary. I'm like, okay, then it's not the right line of work.
Right. Yeah. And I'm battling that with my agency all the time. And so I went so far as to kind of buck the trend and stop calling it a virtual assistance agency. We're now a remote support professional agency. So we can have support tiers on different levels. So sometimes it's just, you were a journalist and all the things. It's just re-scripting the narrative. And that's what my movement now that I'm trying to get out there. And that stems from my inner, I'm not just a secretary thing anymore. So
Right.
I love a good
also,
rescript.
I mean, I love that because also by centering support, you make it very clear it's a partnership.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the thing is my support provider can only be as good as you.
Yeah.
Like I have to set them up for success. There's all these jobs that I have. But anybody who's been a service provider knows what it's like for a client to hire you and then just go, all right, I hired you. I'm paying you money. I don't have to worry about it.
I did what everybody said I was supposed to do.
Meanwhile, you're like,
hello. Shouting into the abyss of the internet. Are you going to give me anything to do?
Exactly.
How lucky are the people that work for you and I? Because we know what we're supposed to do. We get done, as we like to say. That's wonderful. One thing I also like to ask the guests on the show is, ideally, we've got most listeners are professional service providers, and they're listening for tips and tricks to build their delegation muscles, I like to call them. And so we've already kind of shared that clarity and communication. Is there anything else in that lane, like a tip and a trick or a lesson learned that you can share that might, resonate with who's listening?
Yeah. So one of the questions I always ask myself is, what do they need to know in order to meet my expectations?
Yeah.
Because what I found in my career, I worked for a couple of, we would call them bad bosses, except that I learned so much, it's hard to say that. But where I had one boss who would spend all this time telling me what he wanted to tell me and not one moment thinking about, okay, what is Tonya need to do this or that. So, like, for example, he was asked to research something. And so he reached out to me and says, hey, do you know anything about this topic? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know a little bit. He's like, okay, well, I have to take 5 ideas to the next meeting. Can you just give me some ideas to work with? And I'm like, sure. And I sent him an email with 5 ideas, the reason why these were the right ideas, pros and cons, like presentation ready for the meeting.
Yeah.
And he was like, all I wanted was for you to send me like a couple of links to do the research. You did my whole job for me. And I'm like,
aren't you lucky?
When you tell me to research something, that's how I research something.
Yeah.
Why would I hold anything back?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so maybe what you need to do is just tell me what I need to know to meet your expectations. So I put myself in the other person's shoes and I go, okay, based on what I know of their life experience, how long we've worked together, what questions will they likely have?
Right.
What
they come back to
questions
me with.
should they have?
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't think deeply enough, right?
Right.
And then I have a look. I say, okay, so in your shoes, I would want to know these things. So this is what I'm going to tell you. And based on what I know are my own weaknesses, here are the questions that I would expect you to ask me. And I have those answers too. And then
that's important. I'm just going to shout that out. Based on my weaknesses, what are the questions the weaknesses that I've told you about or that you've learned about me? Oh, like that. Keep going.
Yeah. So I think those are the 2 big ones, though. And just really thinking through from the other person's perspective rather than focusing on, I just need to get this off my plate.
Yeah. Ooh. Mic drop. I call those my golden nuggets. Yes, we'll call that a golden
I love
nugget
a
for the
golden
day.
nugget.
I love good golden nugget. Oh my gosh. Is there anything else that you can share with people today who are struggling or on the struggle bus of delegation, just to make them feel a little bit better? Like, it's not something that everybody's great at.
Well, I would say it's not something most of us are born knowing how to do.
Right.
I mean, especially if you're like I'm just going to say over the age of 40,
Sure.
right? If you're a woman over the age of 40, you were taught that you should do it yourself or
Yeah.
you should do it for others.
Mm-hmm.
So as women, it is really hard to delegate because sometimes we get caught up in thinking like, oh, is the message I'm sending that I think I'm too good for this?
Yeah.
No, that is not the message you're sending, but it's okay if that comes up for you.
Sure.
The second thing is if you are paying somebody to do the task for you, it is okay to have a standard of expectation.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
the standard of expectation should be reasonable. Back
Yeah.
to perfectionism.
Yeah.
Just stop it. You'll be so
Yeah.
much happier.
Just stop it. Yeah. Confess. I have been a perfectionist at times. Still am a bit, getting better. So even though I do this show and I talk to people about delegation outsourcing all the time, I totally admit my faults. And it's in the working with my spouse. We'll throw that out there. He'll love it when he produces a podcast episode. Hi, honey. It's one of those things where he's not me. So
Right.
and then it's like I've almost become a communications 101 teacher, instructor. If you just said it a little different than, when you asked me this question, but yeah, it's more asking the more clarifying questions. And I love like, what would Bonnie do? What would Bonnie say? Knowing what I know about her, she might say this. Now, I wouldn't say that, but she might. So it's a lot of thinking if you're on the receiving end of a task being given to you as well. So same with you, I suspect, if somebody's, asking you to help amp up their community, you've got to really get your head in there and think of,
Right.
and do your due diligence and your studying up on their community and see where you think they've been lacking. So,
yeah. Well, like our mutual friend Gwen and I talked about, right?
Yeah.
Anticipating needs and working to fill them before they're articulated.
Oh, yes, exactly.
But you have to have a lot of awareness to do that.
Yeah. And you can't be working hourly. I mean, you could while you're sitting there waiting for a response. I always say, excuse me, I always say get to know the person that you're working with, communication love language. And wherever they reply the quickest, you go on this platform. If you instant message them or you text them for a quick answer, or if not, it's like an email where you can refer back to. If there's someone like me, they need to refer back. We forget things at a certain age. Just saying.
Yeah, I like things in writing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, it has been so awesome to have you here today, Tonya. I appreciate you taking the time on your busy schedule, and feel free to shout out a community that you're supporting now or that you want to share.
Oh my gosh. I am super in love right now with Adrian Farrow's Go-To community. It is all about maximizing Google's suite of tools.
Ooh.
So since most of us use Google Workspace anyway, why not eat the most out of that monthly amount that we pay them?
Yes. I'll make sure and grab the link from you, and I'll share that with everybody below. So thank you so much again for being here today. And I hope everybody can stop and think a little bit as they listen to this episode about little pieces and nuggets you can pull out, and you can keep getting done and keep delegating and outsourcing and elevating your business. Tune in next time. Thanks again, Tonya. Bye-bye. Hi, everybody. It's me, Bonnie. I am so excited to finally share this with you. My next venture, Preferred Service Pros, has officially launched. What started with the incredible guests we've had right here on Delegate to Elevate has grown into a trusted directory where you can find professional service providers, coaches, consultants, and experts who are doing meaningful work. Our season 1 and season 2 guests here on D2E are already featured. So if someone you heard on the show caught your attention, you know where to find them. Visit preferredservicepros.com to explore the directory. And if you're a professional service provider who feels like you belong among the preferred, we invite you to apply. That's it for today's episode of Delegate to Elevate, Get Done. Be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen. And if this episode gave you a golden nugget or two, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your review may even be featured in a future D2E listener shout out. Head over to delegatetoelevatepodcast.com. That's with the number 2 to grab Bonnie's free Delegate to Elevate growth roadmap. Explore past episodes and join us next time for more real conversations about getting done.